For more on this, on Indonesia's economy, Ankur Patel joins us. He's the co-founder and chief investment officer of the global investment firm R² Macro. Good to see you, sir. Welcome to the show. Let me start with this. This news came out today regarding the TPP, Indonesia, at the White House. What's the latest on that?
Well, I mean, from Indonesia's perspective, it stands to gain a lot from TPP if it were to join. At this point, though, Indonesia is really on the fence. But in our view, it's more of a question of when, not if. Indonesia really stands to gain on two fronts. In terms of trade, the last couple of years have been tough for Indonesia. Because of weak external demand and lower energy prices, global trade has been tough for Indonesia. And really, by participating in the TPP, Indonesia would benefit from the several billion in trade per day that would be done between the U.S. and its trading partners. At the same time, by not participating in the TPP, Indonesia would lose some of that trade to perhaps some of its Southeast competitors in the area. Indonesia is in need of more infrastructure investment, and by participating, that would open up more dollars, and Indonesia on both fronts would win out.
I just want to clarify something. Our White House reporter, Jessica, is indicating that there is a deal and Indonesia will likely join the TPP. And I'm wondering, okay, if that's the case, might other countries who are on the fence join, or is this very Indonesian specific?
I think it certainly encourages more countries to join. If you look at Indonesia, it certainly has a very delicate balance to play between the two great superpowers in the world right now, the U.S. on one hand and China on the other. Really, I think from Indonesia's perspective, it wants to be able to have deals with both parties. And certainly the rail project with China earlier this month was a great announcement. The deals that Indonesia was able to announce today is certainly a huge win. And I think that, that as a stigma of participating in the TPP recedes, you may see more of the East Asian partners participate. Also, as more people participate, more nations participate, you don't want to be the odd man out. It certainly is a competitive disadvantage for your nation.
Yeah, now I know historically the United States and Indonesia have not seen eye to eye on a lot of issues. One thing in particular that the State Department has pointed out a number of times is the restrictions on foreign investment. And I'm talking about the laws within Indonesia. Obviously, there's going to be calls for changes. Do you think that's highly likely?
Well, I think Jokowi certainly was elected on the hope that he would come in and reduce some of the big hurdles to Indonesian growth over the last couple of years, namely protectionist laws, as well as just political corruption and bureaucracy, as well as inadequate investment in infrastructure. And I think right now there's a lot of hope, but there has also been a lot of disappointment. Jokowi, over the last year, has been able to reduce energy subsidies, introduce a new economic team that's open to freer trade, and really begin the introduction of special economic zones. But across all three fronts, Indonesia and Jokowi in particular has disappointed. And I think investors on the sidelines are really now calling into question whether Jokowi is going to follow through with his reform agenda. At the same time, anytime new deals are announced, Indonesian assets perform very, very well. So investors are really hopeful, but still skeptical.
Yeah, it hasn't been an easy year for Indonesia. I mean, I've been watching the currency. It's had a rough go. You know, one thing that investors are looking at is geopolitical risks. One area, the South China Sea, the dispute, a number of countries involved, but Indonesia has remained, for lack of a better word, a bit quiet on this matter. And I'm wondering, might that noise level up a bit?
I think it certainly could. I mean, if you look at the South China Sea, it's of huge strategic importance to Indonesia. Over 50% of global oil shipments occur through the sea lanes, represents trillions in trade per year. And really for Indonesia, it's a tough balance. As I mentioned earlier, it doesn't want to really alienate China on one hand, nor Japan and its ally US on the other. So from a strategic perspective, Indonesia would win out by really staying away from the fray, really playing on the sidelines. And really, even if it wished to have a more active foreign policy, it certainly doesn't have the Navy to do so. Now, that may change as its economy grows and it's willing to exhibit more political might in the region. But for now, it's in its best interest to stay out of the fray.
Okay, people forget what an important country that is in that part of the world, and also the global economy as well. Ankur Patel, good to see you. Thank you very much for your analysis.
Thank you for having me.